Hey, what's up guys? Khaled here, the plant charmer. Today I'm shooting a video on how to plant your potatoes in the garden. So first step before we get started, of course, as I always tell you guys, a great garden soil is the #1 element that's going to give you success. In this case, we've turned this bed over with the rototiller. Have not shown you that process because it's pretty straightforward. Just put the machine in. Alternatively, you can use a shovel to do that. The important part here is that you have a soil that is loose and that is deep, so that you can actually plant your potatoes in there and they can develop those beautiful spuds without any resistance from the elements of the soil. So if you look here, I've got, if you guys look at my hand, I'm actually hand digging. You see just how loose the soil is? So I use my rototiller to its deepest setting, and I actually went down and dug close to, well, I'm down a foot, and I'm still digging. And look at the quality of the soil. So if you got friable soil like this, it's best. You're still gonna get potatoes if you don't, but of course the best elements, the best inputs will give us the best output. Next step, we're gonna rake this bed smooth and prepare it for basically for the holes or the trenches we're gonna make for our potatoes. I use an old rake here with hard tines on it. As you can see, it's super rusty. It's about to fall apart. I'm a big fan of using tools until they actually fall apart in your hands. So let's just go ahead and smooth that. If you have any rocks, any large parts, I just came across this. It's either a piece of a cinder block. No, it actually looks more like a rock. Get rid of that. And then just do sweeping motions towards you. So towards you, towards you. And then that's it. Just make it sure that this bed is actually smooth. If you've got places where you've got lumps of soil and it's not smoothing out, you can actually push. So push, pull, push, pull. And in the end, for that row, you can actually turn the rake around and then just go like this, just to finish it off. So let's just do this very quickly here. And as you can see, it's very, very easy to rake through because the soil is loose. So one of the most unpleasant things you can do when you're gardening is fighting with a really, really tough soil. That's going to make short work of your pleasant experience. So again, investing in quality soil allows you to have that pleasure of just pushing that rake in and going like this with one hand. See, I'm not even putting much force into this. Of course, it's better with two hands, but I wanted to show you guys what having a great soil actually does. Any large twigs or large branches or rocks are removed. So we got this here. This has been removed here. As you can see, our bed is relatively weed-free. That's how you want to start. We passed the rototiller, like I said yesterday, so we ripped out majority of the weeds. I see one of them here that survived the pass. So that guy is gone. Again, the back of the rake. And we're just gonna push, pull, equalize that soil basically. Here we go. So now we've got a nicely raked, smooth bed of soil. I didn't do the other part. I'm just gonna show you this part on video. But now you can see that this is a great looking soil. So that's it for this step. I'll take you guys to the next step, which is gonna be digging our trenches, putting fertilizer in. So let's do it. All right guys, for this part, you're gonna need a shovel. Obviously a pointed shovel like this is better if you're gonna be digging through soil. It's a matter of preference to an extent. I like these shovels, that's what I use. So that bed here is about from here to here is about 4.5 feet wide. We can easily fit 2 good rows of potatoes in there. So I'll dig the first trench here to show you guys how it's done. So just go in here, push. See how easy that was? And go like this. We can put all that soil that we shovel, by the way, right in the middle of the row here, in between the 2 rows we're gonna make. Pack it there nicely because that's what we're gonna use to cover our potatoes with when we're done. So I'll just show you guys how to make a trench. Again, try to go as deep as you can because that's gonna give your potatoes a better fighting chance. Their root systems will develop better. I'm just gonna go to the whole length of the bed basically. Move that rake around here. Oh, let's put it there for now. So when you're digging with a shovel, the pointed end goes in, your foot goes on the back of the shovel here, push. That's it, pry. We're just gonna keep going like this. All right, so the majority of the soil is removed. What you can do is take the pointed end of the shovel, just scratch in, scratch in, scratch in. We're just making that trench a little deeper, and then that excess we've just scratched, we can actually put in the middle here. And then you can scratch in the opposite direction. Always do small pulls. Don't try to go from one end of the bed to the other like this, because this is exhausting. So just really do small sweeping motions, pull towards you, and then you can just finish off like I'm doing right now with the small stuff. I'm just trying to get maximum depth for my spuds. All right. Just gonna smooth that here a little bit more. There we go. So if you guys notice, even with good soil, it's actually a physical workout. So imagine if I had clay here, not to mention that your potatoes will not grow in clay anyway. So our trench is done here. Actually, you know what? We can actually enlarge this a little more. Here we go. So our trench is ready. Next step is going to be putting fertilizer in. So I'll show you that next step right now. So fertilizer, I'm using a mix of 5-3-2 and 4-6-8. You'll notice I use that mix pretty much everywhere. So sometimes I need more nitrogen, then I'll put more of that 5-3-2 on proportion in the mix. Sometimes I'll need more of a flowering, fruiting mix, and I'll use more of that 4-6-8. Most of the time though, an equal parts mix between those two recipes will be the best. It's going to give you a balanced fertilizer. So we're just going to take our fertilizer here, and we're going to lay down some fertilizer at the bottom of the trench, right where the roots are going to have first contact with the soil. Now don't put too much, because these are going to be in direct contact with our potatoes, but you do want a good base. So what you could also do, if you're really dedicated, is you could dig even deeper than that, put a line of fertilizer, put a little bit of soil on top just to cover it so it's not in direct contact with your spuds. And then you can plant your potatoes and cover that. You'll get even better results. Obviously, this is going to give you 95% of the performance you're looking for. So we're going to stick with that method. So if you look down here, that gray line in the trench is actually our plant food. So I'll take you guys to the next step, which is what we're here for, planting. All right, guys, so on to the fun part. It's going to be planting. So that's really the easy part of things. You're going to want to space out your spuds 1 foot apart. So that's going to give you plants that are going to grow 1 foot apart. In terms of size of spuds, I do not cut down my potatoes into multiple pieces, even if they have multiple eyes. I've never done that. I always got great results. I understand you could actually stretch your seed a little bit more if you do that. But again, I'm not that short on space, so you can do it if you want though. Just remember, if you cut the potatoes, let them actually scar. So let the part where you cut dry out. Because if you put them in the soil right away, you may actually contract diseases that are there, and because you've got an open wound there, it's just going to go right in. So I don't think there's enough gain to be had by cutting them. As you guys know, I'm a commercial farmer. Commercial farmers do not cut their potatoes or their seed potatoes. It's very rare, and they get great results. They actually feed the world in potatoes that way. So we're just going to stick with that method. So here's a medium-sized potato. It's got a bunch of eyes on. Now we could have cut it here, create more plants, I guess, but we have enough seed. So just put it there. Ideally, if you've got these shoots pointing up like this, it's going to help the shoots actually grow out of the soil and come back upwards. So we're going to put one here. That guy has a really long shoot. Look at this. That guy was not going to wait an extra week. So 1 foot apart. Now it's an approximation, by the way. I don't come out with the measuring tape or anything like this, as you've noticed. But the principle that you need to respect is they need their own space. So that's going to be one here. That guy has, look at these. So we've got that here. So as you notice, 1 foot apart in between each seed potato. These are just, by the way, russet Burbanks. So they're the most popular. They're the fries you get at McDonald's. They're great potatoes for a million reasons. They keep very well. They taste great. They have a good texture. So that's going to be 5 seed potatoes in here. Look at the length of that thing. It's actually more plant than it is potato at this point. So we're going to put that there. And then another seed potato right here. And we're going to put one last one in that bed here. Here, all right, simple stuff. So now that we've got those, we're going to grab our shovel. And you remember that soil we actually put like right on the other row, right in the middle? Just push it back on. Basically, just cover the potatoes. As you can see, our potatoes are disappearing under the soil. That's great. Here we go. Some shoots can actually protrude if they're really big, like this guy. You're not going to be able to cover that. It's fine. What's going to happen is the light's going to hit it. It's going to turn green, and it's going to keep growing from there. Same thing for this guy right here. It's going to turn green, and that's it. The plant's just going to grow and do its thing. All right, so our potato row is actually planted here, as you can see, as evidenced by these 2 shoots here, but we don't need evidence because we just did it. Hope you guys enjoyed this part. All you have left to do now is water those babies, watch them grow, keep them weed free, fertilize them every 2 or 3 weeks at this point, and you'll get great results. Again, my name is Khaled, known as the Plant Charmer. Hit the thumbs up button. Sorry, I got a little workout here. Hit the thumbs up button, like it, subscribe it, share it with your friends, and we'll have a lot more gardening coming up this year because we just had our last frost, so it's getting really nice and warm. See ya.